The College Football Experience, Florida State Seminoles 2024 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog's giving away $15 million in Best Ball Mania 5. They just dropped college football best ball, folks. Finally, it's here. Sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your first time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm has the best AI picks and projections in their football models. Well, they're almost live. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, this is Eric Metcalf. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo! Welcome to the College Football Experience. Florida, Saudi Arabia State 2024 season preview episode. I'm sorry, Florida State Seminoles 2024
Good save.
season preview episode. Getting the names confused for this particular publication. Excited to talk Seminoles. They got robbed a year ago. Let's start off by admitting that the 4-team playoff invitational was a complete fucking joke. And the fact that Florida State wasn't in was a complete fucking joke. And yeah, may God have mercy on the souls of the people that did not let the Seminoles into this thing after going perfect in the Power 5. You saw the sham that I've been preaching about for about 20 goddamn years. All right. Maybe even longer.
I thought the regular season mattered. I thought every game mattered. And that was the beautiful thing about college football, right?
Oh, that's they you know what? I argued with someone that the other day. They don't even pay attention to that. You know what I mean? They're just like, no, this is devalues the regular season. Well, the regular season was completely useless last year. Completely useless.
If a Power 5 borderline blue blood can win every single game on their slate and still not make it to a 14 playoff, it's a useless fucking season.
Unbelievable.
And go 2-0 against the SEC.
Yeah. And the ACC went 6-3 against the SEC. So, I mean, if you didn't know that this 12 team wasn't just so needed, and even with this, it's still the subjectivity. It needs to be bigger than 12, but we'll get there. Look, folks, if you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
I think that's the way every Florida State fan, after watching the playoff show, that's another stupid thing. We have the playoff show.
Yeah. Oh, they're just getting money right there. That's another example of them just getting money.
Yeah. But after watching that show, they had to be disgusted. But don't worry, you've came to the right place, and we want you to watch this show. We're not gonna bullshit you. All right.
There you go.
We were lobbying. Look, I grew up not even liking Florida State, but I was saying they deserve in 100%. And yeah, we're breaking down all 134 college football teams, an hour dedicated to every single team in the land. So if you're a hardcore Seminole fan, you can listen to every single opponent's episode, so you can get dialed in for the season. Yes. Also, check out the Stadium Heads podcast. Florida State.
Even Charleston Southern?
That's coming. The Buccaneers. Don't sleep on the Buccaneers. I am joined by my co-host, youtube.com/the college experience. You can watch the show. We're actually in the studio here. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing wheeling and dealing. Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh. Well,
Let's go. All right.
yeah, boy.
Mountain ball, baby. Mountain
Yeah,
ball.
buddy. Well,
right.
This is a storied program. Like we said,
Oh, yeah.
borderline blue blood. I mean,
Burt Reynolds played here, buddy.
he
All right.
did. What do you think? This team started in the 80s really getting dominant. Are they a blue blood at this point?
Yes.
I think so.
All right, there it is.
Question is that?
I mean, there was 100 years or so of football before they became dominant.
That,
okay.
buddy, they're the epitome of a blue blood.
Well, since in the last 40 years, they might be the best football program in the country.
I mean, yeah. What do you think it takes to be a blue blood? Like, is it like 2 decades worth of success? Is it less? Is it more?
Well, that I guess
I'd say.
depends on your definition. Again,
Yeah, does Wisconsin count? They've been damn good for.
They didn't win a national championship.
Well, once again, they couldn't win a national championship. The odds are stacked against them. We just saw Florida State go undefeated. They weren't allowed to the party.
let me pull
Wisconsin
this up.
is not.
Ooh, okay. But Doak Campbell Stadium, that's why you should check out the Stadium Heads podcast. Great historic stadium, isn't it? When you go out there, when Mike Norvell's out there, he's got to think about the fact Lee Corso was playing in the stadium. Burt Reynolds was playing in the stadium. They might remember Charlie Ward or, Dion or Dexter Carter. But I think Burt Reynolds probably takes the cake. He's probably the best of them all. But check out the long
Topping Burt. There's no topping him.
Check out The Longest Yard. There's also a movie called Gator. Fantastic. Patty C, what are you doing over there? You're
I
fucking
am
typing
trying
away like you're
to-
goddamn.
I'm trying to find where Florida State
Are
ranks.
you typing? What are you, a stenographer there? Just fucking typing away everything I'm saying?
That's right. I'm keeping the receipts here, buddy. No, Florida State number 76 all time in win totals. I don't think below Utah State, just below Utah State and Hawaii.
That's fair.
I
I
know
don't
that that
care
makes
about
you-
stuff from 100 years ago.
Also,
I don't care
how
about
many
the
of those
20s
wins-
and 30s and 40s? Come on.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but I think you need to count that toward what makes a team a blue blood is their history. And Florida State's history started really in the 80s as a dominant program. Now they have been very dominant for most of the time since the 80s, or at least the
Well, is
80s.
Navy and Army blue bloods?
I don't know. Are they? They might be higher on the win total. So yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good point.
well, they dominated, decades in the freaking 1930s
Well,
or
how
something.
many
but
Florida State has what 3 national championships?
Last year count? I don't know. I would say last
maybe,
year counts.
maybe,
Sure,
maybe
why
you're
not?
right. Maybe it should.
Yeah.
They should have like 10. The
yeah.
90s, they managed to get screwed out of it like a bunch of times.
Trust nothing. There's no national champions out there.
Yeah.
All right. Look, we're joined by third man in the booth, the DFS guy himself. Yes, we will have DFS episodes out all fall long. Give it up for the rooftop IPA drinking, homebrew making, tobacco road living, a free lot giving, former Herndon Basketball League MVP. Give it up for NC Nick in the place to be.
there we go. What's going on, guys?
Well, I mean, we're just trying to play this.
So we get our kicks doing the Seminole rap. We are the Seminoles of Florida State. We know we're good, some say we're great. Our goal is simple.
When it comes to swag, they're definitely blue bloods.
This song alone makes them a blue blood.
Yeah.
Best part's the bridge. Here we go.
Wiki. Oh shit.
That's when you know. That's when
They
you know.
worked in the
That's so 80s.
Seminoles war
Yeah.
chant there a little bit.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Where are we at, guys, with this Florida State undefeated season? Everyone talking shit because Georgia beat them by 1,000 in the bowl game. But even Kirby Smart said after the bowl game, he said, I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something's
doing
got to
here?
get fixed here.
Yeah.
When you're playing the other team's 4th string quarterback who has 3 days of practice to
Well,
get
the
ready.
whole fucking team didn't play.
Yeah.
How many players got drafted this past year?
10.
10. Yeah.
9 of them being transfers. Everyone's giving Dion shit. That's what I find so funny. I think 21 of Florida State's 22 starters a season ago were transfers. Everyone
You
giving
know something-
Dion shit.
You know something
that?
impressive? Of the 10 guys that got drafted for Florida State, 5 of them had first names that started with a J, but they were all different. You had a Jared, a Jarian, a Jordan, a Johnny, and a Jaheim.
You think that's a Norvell strategy?
Just get all the J's.
He's going for the Jays.
You give them the J's. Free Shoe University, Florida State. You give them some
Yeah.
J's. I don't know. There's something to it.
Jordan Travis is gone, and he didn't go with the J at the quarterback spot. Maybe we should fade them this year then.
There is a J in there.
That's true. But your point about the portal meaning so much to this team, I mean, I think that's going to be this year, because in years past, when you have 10 guys drafted and your returning production is only 56%, which ranks 90th in the nation, like they are this year, usually it would be a rebuilding season. But now with the portal, you hit it hard like they do every year. And Florida State has national title hopes once again.
Yeah, the bigger question here is the same question we asked ourselves on the NC State episode, NC Nick. The rent a quarterback strategy before you had Jordan Travis, who was there. I mean, he was a Louisville transfer, but he was at Florida State for a long time before things really worked.
Right.
The rent a quarterback strategy, Miami and Florida State doing this. Will it pay off with DJ U? And obviously Cam Ward at Miami, but we're going to talk all about that. We're going to talk about the offense, defense, special teams, head coaching, offense coordinating, defense coordinating, everything. Go game by game on the 2024 schedule that kicks off in Dublin, Ireland, in less than 25 days, folks.
Did we get Nick's intro?
Yeah, we got it. Don't worry about it.
Thanks for looking out, though, Patty.
There we go.
So we get our kicks doing the Seminole rap.
Look, I want to tell you though that you're listening to the College Football Experience, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. The Sports Gambling Podcast just launched their 32 team NFL preview series that they're doing, a solo episode for all 32 teams. And as a bonus, each team preview will include a code word. Submit the 32 code word phrase, and you will be or could be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa future bet. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast and the SGPN app, which is free to download in the App Store and Google Play Store. All right, back talking Seminole football. Where are we at with YouTube.com? Get on over there. These slides are looking fantastic. Head coach Mike Norvell is 69-32 in 8 years as a head coach. Just one ACC championship, and that was last season. He did win some AAC stuff though, but 31-17 at Florida State. He is 2-0 against LSU, 2-1 against Florida, 3-1 against Miami, Florida, 4-0 against Duke and Carolina. Take that, NC Nick. But he has struggled with NC State. The Pussy Pack actually 3-0 against Norvell.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Notre Dame also 2-0 against Norvell. Louisville 2-2 against Norvell. 1-2 against Clemson. Probably should have been 0-3 against Clemson if you're asking me.
Although if we're fair, we probably should have been 1-2 against NC State. That was one of the worst coaching decisions ever, if I'm not mistaken. When
you're right. Was that 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago.
Chance to go for a field goal.
Yeah. 1-2 against Wake Forest. So that's interesting. OC is Alex Atkins. DC is Adam Fuller. Where are you at with Coach Norvell? Is he the guy to take him back to the promised land? Obviously, you could argue the promised land was last season when you had an undefeated regular season. They won out of the ACC. I don't understand why. Like, they keep selling them on this dream. We were talking about this on the way over here, me and Patty C. It's like they keep selling them on this dream of like, hey, more money is going to be better for your football program in a way. It kind of is, but it also kind of isn't. Like Vanderbilt has made more money than Boise State for the past 20 years.
Yeah. We're pretty sure Boise would win that
every single time. Yeah. There would never been a game where Vanderbilt would have won that, in my opinion. Yeah. But
maybe during Franklin's 8-5 year, maybe it'd be 19-1.
I just think they're wrong for chasing the dollar bill. I know we had Dan Wetzel on the show a few weeks back. He brought up a great point saying, like, the Kansas City Chiefs aren't they're not worried that the Cowboys make more money than them.
Yeah.
Like they're just, hey, like at what point, how much money is it to just have a good roster and win games? Because your culture and your roster.
Yeah.
Well, they have no problem fielding a good roster right now. I mean, their recruiting classes are top 10 year in, year out. Their transfer classes are top 5 year in, year out. So, they're not having an issue bringing talent into Tallahassee right now.
Yeah, that's why I don't understand this issue to get out of there. I really don't. I think they're dumb for doing that. I understand, and I actually think this will all even out long term.
Yeah, I don't think it's about. I don't think it's about winning. I don't think they are worried that their ability to win and compete long term is going to be drastically impacted by staying in the ACC. I think it has been shown that it might go down. Miami's a great example. You
Nebraska,
go like all
Arkansas,
a lot of you're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
it's the administration that is worried about not getting their paycheck, not getting that raise they want.
I really think they're fucking this up.
Yeah.
I really think they're fucking this up, but we'll see. Mike Norvell, though, where are you at with him in general as a head coach, NC Nick?
Sometimes it pays off to have a little patience. I mean, his first year was a COVID year. They struggled, just 3-6. He followed that up with a 5-7 season. He was definitely on the hot seat. I think one of those years they lost to Jacksonville State, who was in the FCS.
That's true.
At the time.
And he's 1-1 against Jacksonville State. So let's see if they put him on the schedule again.
That's right. But year 3, he wins double digits. Took him a bowl game to do that, and then last year they put it all together and they went undefeated basically. So you have to be very happy with where you're at now with Coach Norvell.
Patty C, any questions? You think he's the guy? You think he's Bowden 2.0?
I think you should be happy with where you are. I think obviously you want to see it sustained for a little while, but Norvell has, I want to say, at 2 different college football programs, the most wins in a given season. I don't know. Did they go 14-0 with when Memphis? They won the national championship they must have in against Auburn. But yeah, at Memphis, he owns that title. He's the only coach that has even won 11 wins in a season, but he got to 12. So and that was in a short period of time. Obviously, he took over for Justin Fuente there, and it's kind of, although to his credit, he took over for Willie Taggart at Florida State and quickly has built them into a powerhouse. Whether he can maintain that, it's a little bit of a question, but you do have to wonder because when you have this many transfers, it's not necessarily a sustainable thing. We haven't seen a lot of programs do, or have we seen any programs do that?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I want to talk more about that in a second, but I want to tell you folks out there that the Florida State Seminoles 2024 season preview is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy just launched Underdog Streaks. Hit your first 2 pick'em entries, and then you go streaking. Bring your green hat. Look, if you go on a 11-0 run, you can win 1,000 times the amount of money you originally entered. Plus, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. You can now use specials and boost to on all flexed entries. They got college football, basketball, folks, and they got college basketball. You just got to get over there, all right? So sign up, and what do you do? Sign up with the promo code TCESGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCESGPN. We're also brought to you by OddsJam. OddsJam is your one-stop shop for beating the sports books. OddsJam uses millions of data points across every U.S. and Canadian sports book to show you the best value plays for your money. Their line shopping tool shows you the best price for any bet you want to make across countless different sports books, not just the big ones like DK and FanDuel, but BetOnline, Bovada, Cut, and much, much more. Their arbitrage tool will find opportunities where you can bet both sides of the same prop on different sports books to guarantee a positive ROI. If you're interested in trying out OddsJam, you can get a free 7-day trial period today by going to oddsjam.com with the promo code SGPN. And don't forget to enter that promo code SGPN to get you 35% off your first month over at OddsJam. All right, back on the college football experience here. And by the way, we're a doubleheader. We got the Miami Hurricanes coming up next. Where's that rivalry go for you? Miami, Florida. I almost said Miami, Ohio. And Florida State. Where does that rivalry go for you, buddy?
At its best, it's right there with the best.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, it's still okay, but not amazing.
I think part of it is there's no more Orange Bowl. That really fucking destroys some of it.
Yeah.
There was a stretch though between like 85 and 95 where it was the most important college football game of the year. Most of those years.
Yeah.
Now it has fallen off a little bit.
Yeah.
The guy, whoever's the guy, gal, committee who decided to get rid of the Orange Bowl really should no longer be allowed to be in this country. I mean, send them. Let's trade them for something. All right.
Yeah.
Let's. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Like that. The Orange Bowl is such a great stadium, and then you fucking do this.
Let's take it off campus. And put it in the middle of nowhere.
Like I feel like Miami's lost a lot of their luster for that. Florida State fans are probably relishing in that, but
sure.
We should have traded that person for Brittany Griner.
There we go. That was a perfect deal. Bad losses since the turn of the century. That was I have a Louisville game on there. That was when Louisville was in the Conference USA. Bobby Bowden went into old Louisville Stadium and got took an L to I don't know, it was Dave Ragone or so Chris Redmond, one of these guys. 26-20. South Florida came into Tallahassee with Jim Levitt and won 17-7.
That hurts.
Yeah. Houston, that was a bowl game, 38-24.
Cotton Bowl or something?
Yeah. Boise came into Tallahassee and won 37-31 in a wild one. And then maybe the wildest of them all is Jacksonville State taking them down 20-17 on the final play of the game. Which I think we know which one's the worst, because Jacksonville State was an FCS when that happened, right?
Yeah.
Without a doubt, Nick.
Easy. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, that concludes that. We like to shit on every team. Humble the fan base before we go into explaining this season and everything. So, looking at this year's offense, or I'm sorry, last year's offense, 19th in the nation scoring per game, 34.6 points per game. That was 6th best in the ACC. 52nd in yards. That was 6th best in the ACC. 45th in passing. That was actually 11th best in the ACC. But the number 1 rushing attack in the ACC, 76th in the nation.
That's stunning.
Yeah.
How is the ACC that bad?
Wait,
at rushing?
did I fuck that up? I feel like, is that true?
Where did they finish in rushing?
Let me quickly keep talking for a second about this last season. I just want to make sure I didn't get that wrong.
That sounds questionable.
It does. It really does. And knowing the day I had setting up this shit,
they were 70. Yeah, probably around. I'm on Sports Reference at 72nd, but some
72nd. Yeah,
some of the teams don't count on.
They
Sports
don't
Reference.
count the FCS.
The new teams that are.
But hold on. So top rushing offense a year ago was
Virginia Tech was above them. Duke was above them.
Yeah, I don't know where the fuck. I don't know how I fucked that up, but yes, they actually weren't that great of a rushing offense. I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
But there weren't that many ACC teams above them. They might have been like 3rd.
Yeah. Still, I don't know. Don't pay attention to that fucking sign. But they got 4 returning starters. Tight end Kyle Morlock is back. Left tackle Darius Washington. Right tackle Jeremiah Byers. And safety Maurice Smith is back. Only 4 starters.
That hurts.
But the portal, such a big piece. They lost a bunch. Shout out to DB Cooper, gave us $2. He says, I know it ain't much, but thanks for your work. Buddy, $2 is a lot in my world, all right? Fucking big bucks in my world, buddy. Appreciate you, buddy.
What is that? Jurassic 5. $2 a snack to you, but it means a big deal to me.
There you go.
Come on.
Jurassic Park or Jurassic 5?
Oh, okay. Jurassic Park rap.
I thought Jeff Goldblum said that. When he was looking at that big pile of shit. $2 ain't much to me, but I'm staring at a gigantic T-Rex shit. Look, Tate Rodemaker heads out to Southern Miss, says he's going to be the next Brett Favre over there. AJ Duffy went out to Sean Lewis in San Diego State. Winston Wright making the best decision in his career. Look, there's a long history of the Wrights doing great things in North Carolina. Let me tell you, we're going to fly high with Winston Wright. We're going to need to see if he has a brother.
Maybe his ancestors are the Wright brothers.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go.
First in flight.
Let's go.
Maybe it's the inner 90s in me, but getting a transfer from Florida State, exciting in its own right.
Always, yes. How about Bless Harris? Great name. Going to TCU on the offensive line. Marquiston Douglas to Arizona State. Goldie Lawrence.
Oh man.
Good God.
Swag.
Oh man.
He kind of sounds hot.
I mean, do any of these ones stand out to NC Nick? Do you think
they're all reserves, man. They're all back.
Yeah.
Rodemaker played pretty well though.
I thought Rodemaker could have been.
They wanted to go after somebody better in the portal though.
Which
I'll tell you this:
presumably they got.
Winston Wright was supposed to be a starter before that car accident. He got in a car accident.
He once led West Virginia in receiving yards a few years back.
Yeah. So, okay. They also lost. Quayshawn Sapp. I almost said Sharp and Thomas Schrader going to the great state of North Carolina. They're gonna do battle. Week 2 or 3? 3 is
That's
that?
right. Something like that.
Yeah. But man, ECU just coming in finally. All right, Vince McMahon and Golden Corral money paying off, going into Saudi Arabia, taking their best players. Yeah, they loaded up on the offense. Wait, oh fuck me. See, this is what happens when I'm rushed, man. Hang on 1 second. But anyway, what do you think the biggest losses are there, Patty C?
I mean, Rodemaker. I mean,
how do you think he'll do at Southern Miss?
It's tough to say just because Southern Miss is a little bit up and down lately, but he had 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 57% completion percentage, over 10.9 or over 10 yards adjusted yards per attempt. Those are good numbers. I thought he did pretty well,
and he got snaps in I think 2 years in a row because Jordan Travis was kind of always getting banged up. So he was pretty experienced as far as being a backup. So I think he'll start at Southern Miss. He could do decent, but I agree, Patty. I think that's probably the biggest loss. Him and Duffy just as far as depth in the quarterback room, because they got DJ coming into town, but behind him it's a little thin.
Well, what game did Rodemaker get hurt in? It was before
Florida game, right?
Yeah, he got hurt in the Florida game. And that's the worst part is like everyone's giving Florida State shit for not putting up huge points against Louisville. Not only did they choose to down the ball inside the 20 with 2 minutes left, where they could have run that score up and made it a little more impressive at least, but they were playing with their 3rd string quarterback on a week's worth of starting rep practices.
Yeah,
they got treated like such shit.
It was complete bullshit. We know this.
Yeah.
But you know what they did in the portal, man? They got aggressive. They got aggressive. They went out and grabbed DJ from Oregon State. Now I am very excited to see the Clemson Florida State game with that element of they chose. You can find me in the club, Cade Klubnik, over DJ basically.
Oh yeah.
So that makes this game fascinating.
Finally, maybe the Florida State Clemson game that we are anticipating being a good one that actually delivers.
Will Florida State fans be reading any books in that one?
I don't think so.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about, but I think this one will be competitive.
In general, what do you guys think about DJ though?
I thought he would be better last year at Oregon State, to tell you the truth. Now that doesn't mean he's a bad quarterback. He's now in his 3rd or 4th year starting.
He's career under 60% completion percentage. I mean, I think he's solid. I don't think he's as good as Jordan Travis. He's just solid. I guess.
I'll say this:
never blown away by Jordan Travis.
I was. Well, Jordan Travis is a much better runner.
A little bit,
but DJ does have a fucking cannon. So he might, if anything, that might open up the offense a little bit. Is the fact they can stretch the field way better under Travis? I don't feel like the deep ball was a killer thing.
I think Jordan Travis's list of abilities, whether it be his mobility, his agility, speed, and then his accuracy, probably all add up to a slightly more productive and quarterback, not only statistically individually, but for the team itself. I think DJ though, like you said, has massive tools that if they put it all together could really work out.
Yeah, but I mean, if he hasn't put it all together yet, is he ever going to put it all together?
Well, I just think it's got to be tough. There was a big difference between who was their OC, Brandon Streeter's offense and Jonathan Smith's, and now you're going to a 3rd offense that's different. So it's it sounds like Alex Smith at the beginning of his NFL career.
Let me ask you this: KJ Jefferson or DJU?
Oh, I'll take KJ Jefferson
all day.
Yeah. But look, folks, we're going to talk more about what they got in the portal, but I want to tell you that the FSU 2024 season previews brought to you by Rhythm. If you're not checking out the AI picks and props from Rhythm, then you are missing out. They just predicted a bunch of winners for the British Open, and their football models are about to drop. You can even customize your own betting models easily using Rhythm's tools. Claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by Circa Survivor and Circa Millions. If you haven't been to Circa in Las Vegas, what the hell are you doing? Circa is just it's heaven for sports fans. Stadium swim, fantastic. Look, Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Imagine the regret you're gonna have if you enter some shabby little business. You're at work. You're entering your little. Let me play Survivor for $100.
Yeah.
You win $1,000, but you went through the whole season picking winners. You're gonna say, "Damn it," because those picks would have worked anywhere. You could have been a millionaire if you entered Circus. So don't make that mistake. And then look, if you don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football season, Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out. You can hang with Stacking the Money Green and Ryan Real Money Kramer, my pals from the Sports Gambling Podcast, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd to August 24th. Use the promo code SGP15 also to save you 15% off your hotel room at Circa during sign up weekend. Also remember to sign up in person at Circa between now and September 7th. You can play from anywhere though. You can use a proxy to play from anywhere. We sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th to essentially, like, we have a deal where you can save $50. I can't fucking talk right now. Well, no, they put it in there twice. So I sound like
you're Ron Burgundy is
Leslie Nielsen over here. The Oscar speech here. Go to proxy.footballcontest.com to save you $50 with the promo code SGP. Back talking Florida State Seminole football. They didn't just add DJ U, they added a bunch of other talent. Roydell Williams from the Alabama Crimson Tide. He said, all right, this Roll Tide bullshit's over. Let me go to Florida State. Isn't there something just horrible about taking the team that got the spot instead of you? Just going out and getting their roster. Just saying, we weren't good enough to go undefeated last year. Let me go take a bunch of your damn players.
It's kind of like
a little bit of a flex.
It's kind of like an FU to him too. Yeah, I don't mind that. But again, much like DJU, I don't know how good Roydell Williams is. I would say he's not Trey Benson. So I would say the running backs, much like the quarterbacks, are not quite as good as last year.
I'll tell you, I kind of like Jalen Lucas, this kid from Indiana. Thought he flashed at Indiana. I kind of think they did all right. We'll see.
Roydell Williams, 560 yards, 5 yards per rush. Pretty good.
Lucas was good at Indiana.
You paired those two with Lawrence Toafili, who also returns for his 5th year. I mean, they're solid at running back, but I don't see a Trey Benson. I don't see an NFL player.
Yeah,
between those three guys.
Fair.
Well, remember they lost Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, and Jaheim Bell at the tight end spot. Malik Benson comes in from Alabama. Same with Jalen Brown from LSU.
Those two guys were true freshman 4-stars last year who didn't do much, but they have potential. They're young. The receiving group is really young. You got Ja'Kai Douglas coming back, and then they had a 5-star freshman, Hakeem Williams, who might start also, but all those guys are very inexperienced. So again, not as good as last year.
Yeah.
Top receiver is the running back, Toafili, coming back with 21 receptions. So not a ton of production coming back at the receiver.
Yeah. And shout out to DB Cooper. Saginaw's Deli inside of Circa is fantastic. I highly recommend that. They went out on the O line and got TJ Ferguson from Alabama. Also Jacob Rizzi from Harvard. What? Fucking Mike Norvell scouting the Ivy.
Well, let me tell you what, Florida State probably deserves some flowers here because they have become a much better academic school than they were considered when they joined the ACC. They were kind of like a football factory when they joined the ACC. Now they're like a top 70 school nationally, like private schools included. That's freaking incredible. Props to Florida State fitting in with the ACC. You sure you want to leave?
You sure they don't cook the books over there?
They might cook the books. Florida State's been known to do that a little bit.
Richie Leonard coming in from the Florida Gators on the offense. Just disgusting, by the way. I mean,
it's easy to see a tide turn.
Look, sometimes that tide turns and it deserves to be just coming in from Florida to Florida State.
Yeah.
I almost want to quit the show right now, guys. It's like disappointing.
All right, screw it. Let's go to the bar.
Yeah, it's like, what's happening to our fucking world, man?
Yeah. If you were alive in the mid '90s, no player between Florida and Florida State would ever I could be wrong, but I would think those teams hated each other.
It's like that scene in Braveheart where like the guy comes back to pick, and he's like, "Nah, leave me on the battlefield. Fucking kill me." That's the way I feel when I read something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Robert the Bruce, you sandbagging son of a bitch.
Yeah, just kill me right now. Dude, they would fight before every game in the 90s.
That's what I'm
literally
saying.
Fist fights.
Yeah, now they're going to that's the youth, man.
Yeah.
All right, you become friends in your 50s and 60s. All right, I want you to hate each other. I want several bar fights happening.
Yeah.
All right, and then when you're 55 years old, you can become friends.
Yeah. There you go.
All right.
Larry Bird, Magic Johnson.
Exactly.
Watch that shit.
The defense, 18th in scoring per game. Pretty sure I got these numbers right here. Maybe I didn't. Actually, it's the same. It looks like to me. So yeah, let's ignore those. But 4 starters back on defense. Defensive tackle Joshua Farmer, defensive end Patrick Payton, quarterback Fentrell Cypress from UVA, and safety Shaheem Brown. Kicker and punter are back as well. Huh? What do you make of this defense, Patty C?
Good amount of production returning. I mean, lost some big pieces. 5 dudes drafted, obviously, on the defensive side of the ball, but overall, they're, I guess out of the front 9, only 3 of the top 9 tacklers are coming back, but the next 5 tacklers are coming back after that. So what does that add up to? 8 of the top 14. That's pretty good. That's pretty good returning production.
They lost a few guys that I think, Malcolm Ray going to Rutgers. Kirk Herbstreit was on a show yesterday. Said Rutgers contenders for the Big 10 championship this year. Contenders.
Yeah.
I know me and NC Nick are high on Rutgers, but
Hello.
I don't know that I was that high. A few other guys, Tafasi to Georgia Tech, Gilbert Edmond, who transferred here from South Carolina, goes back to South Carolina. Greedy Vance been at every goddamn school in the nation. He was at LSU. He's at Florida State. He's at USC. Yeah, I don't think there's that much there. They did bring in a slew of guys. Marvin Jones Jr. Yes, the son of the great Marvin Jones, who played for the New York Jets. Grady Kelly coming in from Colorado State. Sione Lolea from Oregon State was a stud for them last year. And then
Good luck with this one.
Yeah, Tuama Tomiwa. Why do I just make sure it's like it's Asian? I've been drinking. This is like my 5th show of the day. They got a guy from West Virginia on the D line. How about that? And I guarantee you he's not born in West Virginia. Linebacker Sean Murphy comes in from, I put Florida State, it's definitely Alabama. Cam Riley from Auburn. Earl Little from Alabama as well. What the fuck am I doing here? Amarian Cooper from Colorado. Cornerback Devontae Brown from the Miami Hurricanes.
He should be firing some shots off.
I mean, dude, we got. It's just what's happening, man. No wonder I can't get the slides right. You know what happened? I read Devontae Brown transfer. Yeah, I just was vomiting all over my screen. All right, you got one thing when you commit. What are these fathers telling their children these days? All right,
yeah. Damn
it, you can't go to the rival. Oh, they didn't play you? How about you play better?
It's a more vindictive generation.
God. Anyway, they did great on the portal though. I honestly, the kid from Oregon State's a stud. The kid from West Virginia is good. Marvin Jones Jr. Anyone that plays D line at Georgia's good. Cam Riley and Sean Murphy are good. I think they did a good job in the portal.
I'm trying to look for particularly high production on the defensive side of the ball. Not seeing it. I mean, Marvin Jones, 31 tackles. I guess he had 65 tackles 2 years ago at. Wait, no, I'm not looking at. I'm looking at Cam Riley. Cam Riley from Auburn.
Yeah.
So that's a productive one. But I think
they brought in good players, dude. Amarian Cooper did start a little bit for Colorado last year. He was at Florida State the year before.
Okay.
So he went to Dion. Dion said you're not very good, and then he went back to Florida State.
I think the defense is going to be fine. I think their D line is loaded. Potential to be like a top 15 unit in the nation. Their secondary is loaded, maybe even like a top 10 unit in the nation. One question mark is linebacker. I think that's the weakest spot. Not to beat a dead horse, but I don't think this defense is going to be quite as good as last year's defense.
So you don't think the defense will be as good as last year? You don't think the offense will be as good as last year? What are you high on the special teams?
They're gonna have a fine special teams this year. You said the kicker and punter return,
back.
right?
They're
you go.
Back.
Number 28 nationally in yardage defensively. That is surprisingly low, numbers for the offense and the defense to turn out a 13-0 squad with an offense in the 70s and a defense in the 20s. It's a little concerning. Maybe the committee was onto something. I don't believe that.
They had 10 guys drafted too, so maybe not.
Yeah,
true.
9 transfers though. 9 transfers. Maybe they can do that again. All right. Next, we go to the win total.
This graphic is amazing.
YouTube.com/the college experience.
Is that your artwork? That's amazing.
No, this was out there on the interwebs, but we are good here. The win total set at 9.5. To win the ACC championship is +290. To make the 12-team playoff is +140. To not make it's -180. To win the Natty is +2,800. First reaction on the 9.5 wins, NC Nick.
Well, even though I just said I think the team's not going to be as good as last year, I don't think they win 3 fewer games in the regular season than last year. So I would say right off the bat that an over is looking pretty appealing.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you one thing, man. We're gonna dive into the schedule in a second, but the game in Ireland is a little more intriguing than I thought. I think maybe a week ago, just previewed Georgia Tech, and I go, hey, maybe they got something where they can.
I've been telling you guys all off season. I think Georgia Tech's going to be a solid team. They were a solid team last year. I think they're going to be solid again this year. Now their record might not show it because they have a brutal fucking schedule, but I do think the game in Ireland is going to be competitive.
Well, I was completely miffed when we did the Georgia Tech preview that Haynes King had over 700 rushing yards last year.
Yeah,
apparently that dude is much more of a dual threat than I ever knew. If that's
is that why you drafted him in college fantasy?
I was worried that there might be some recency bias, but I said, and then I just today saw someone posting he's the best quarterback in the ACC. So if that's the case, then maybe Georgia Tech is something you can't sleep on in week 1.
What about Florida State was 5-0 in 10 scores in games 10 points or less last season? Is that can you lose that many people?
Should be concerning.
Yeah.
Well, you guys had mentioned it before about the rent a quarterback situation, and it's like in close games, a dude with as many years with building relationships with the staff and the other players as Jordan Travis had. That could come in handy in close games and could lead to wins. You don't have that with a rent a quarterback like you in DJU. So maybe they're not quite as good in those close games this year.
Out of those ones, though, I mean, I know we're going to go game by game on the schedule here, but is there one that you see there that you think might be smart? Are you going to stick to the win total if you were going to touch this, or are you going to? Do you think there's something, the ACC championship, or yes on the 12-team playoff?
I mean, the plus 290 sounds pretty appealing. Florida State is going to be right in that mix. So you're getting, some pretty decent odds. I think I might just go ACC champ rather than an over. What's that juice on the over? Do you know?
I think it's -110.
Okay, so it's fairly okay, but still, yeah. I mean, if they win 10 or 11, that means they're most likely in the ACC championship game. So I think the most appealing one might be that plus 290.
I agree.
Yeah. I think
they're going to be in the ACC championship, and we'll get to it later. But a couple of their hard games are non-conference, or at least one of their hardest games is non-conference.
Yep.
And so
let's for Saudi Arabia State, let's take a look at the schedule. But before I do that, I do think that was great. Great work by the internet. Great work by the internet. YouTube.com/the college experience, folks. Let's go back and take a look at that schedule there. Game 1, 24 days from now. Georgia Tech, Florida State, and Dublin, Ireland. I mean, I think Florida State's going to win this game, but
last time I looked, I think it was a 13-point spread. Yeah, I'm taking the points. I think Florida State's going to win, but I think it's going to be like I said, close and competitive.
Yeah, I think it's a tricky game for them. What better time to catch them with all these new faces? Georgia Tech returns a ton, but I still got to lean Florida State. But I think that game is much more scary than I thought it was. When we were doing our weekly drafts for every single game this season. So
I agree, and you know what, Georgia Tech, for as academically challenging of a school as it is, has had some great years in its past. It's probably a pretty good program in the all-time scheme of things. But when they divided the ACC and the Atlantic in the Coastal, and Florida State went Atlantic, Georgia Tech went Coastal, they never got the chance to play each other. Yeah. But this could I mean, in the 90s, didn't Georgia? I mean, Florida State was so damn good, but they played good games.
Well, they both won natties in the 90s.
That's true.
Yeah.
And with the proximity, this is the closest team in the ACC to Florida State geographically. So maybe now that they're going to be playing each other a little more frequently.
Well, until they leave the ACC next year.
That's
but
true.
yeah. Yeah. So I'm saying 1-0. Any of us got the courage to take the Yellow Jackets buzz sting on the money line? No. Then they come back and on Labor Day. Bill O'Brien comes to town. Patty C, he put this energy. How many palm readers did you go to how many psychics did you go to
predict Bill O'Brien?
Yes, he said, I got an idea here.
It just makes too much sense.
He's now at Boston College. You've been saying it for the past 5 years. Any chance the Eagles come into they have a historic win in the state of Florida? Doug Flutie, Gerald Phelan.
I think that might have been in Boston.
No,
I'm not sure.
That was at the Orange Bowl.
Was it at the Orange Bowl? Okay.
Patty C, 2-0.
They could. I mean, Boston College, got a first place vote during ACC Media Day, I guess.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they did get one ACC first place vote.
Who the hell was that?
Wow.
What was that? What's that? Remember that old sports reporter show? Bob Ryan. He was
Yeah,
probably the one
yeah.
that voted that in, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think they were projected
Probably ripped the heater right there too.
yeah,
right?
that's right. 10th in the ACC or somewhere about that, but somehow got a first place vote. No, Florida State's going to win this at home.
They get a bye week, and then the Memphis Tigers come to town. Hey, old Silver Fist taking on his old boss. I like this game
the
here.
Mike Norvell Bowl.
I'll take Florida State. 3-0.
Yeah.
Although this is Memphis's Super Bowl, and they were a pretty good team last year. 10 wins. Seth Hennigan is what, 5th year now?
Yeah, I just think Memphis last year, even though they got that many wins, they were some fun. There were some ones. Even like I feel like a few of those ones you looked and you're just like, eh.
Florida State having the bye before this game is actually pretty huge.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Florida State's got this.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jimmy FSU. Our team this year is a lot deeper than last year. I think we lose at most 2. There we go. Well, look, now the California Golden Bears come to town, and I do think this is a little sneaky because you have at SMU and home to Clemson coming. I kind of think Cal's got the best roster they've had in like 15 years, but they use the portal heavily too, so it's hard to see. Will that all pay off? I tend to I'll go Florida State 4-0. Yeah.
I do agree that a couple of these games are a little tricky, but I don't see Cal going cross country into Doak Campbell and getting this. So FSU.
And then comes the rivalry we all want to develop. Florida State, SMU. They head to Gerald Ford Stadium there in Dallas, Texas.
The dirty money battle.
All right.
Is this game becoming like a trendy upset pick for the home team?
Yeah, I mean that's probably been the case. I think I'm hearing that, but they should just play.
I'm not buying it.
What they had George W. lobby for SMU to get in, even though he's not an SMU grad, to get into the ACC. Why not play this in Kuwait?
Hey, if Kansas State, Iowa State can be in Ireland, why not move this one to Kuwait?
Packed house.
Let's talk about that Georgia Tech game too, because there might be direct flights from Kuwait to Dublin. I feel like that might be a home edge for Florida State. Any chance anyone taking SMU here?
No. Mike Norvell is from Dallas, Irving, Texas, so pretty much in Dallas.
So it's a homecoming.
I think he goes in there with a little motivation to show his hometown up, and he does a good job.
So you're saying 5-0, NC?
Yeah, same here. I'm not that high on SMU. I mean, I think they're gonna have a solid year, but I think their schedule was so easy last year. I think I'd be surprised if they're over 500 in ACC play.
I'm gonna say this: between Georgia Tech, Cal, and SMU, they're gonna lose one.
So you're picking this one, huh?
They're losing one.
You have them at 1 loss here, huh?
They're losing one because they're going to beat Clemson the very next week on October 5th. Clemson comes to town. DJ U is going to get his revenge on Mr. Swinney.
I disagree. I think it's Clemson getting the revenge from last year. I have Clemson winning this game.
I do think Clemson, this is the ultimate experience versus transfer portal matchup here.
Second year with Garrett Riley too. I do think that offense will be a lot smoother.
But the road factor for Clemson is a big deal, and I think Tallahassee makes the difference, and I think Florida State gets it done. I got them undefeated through 6.
Woo! I got them 5-1 through 6.
5-1
NC
here
got
too.
them 5-1 through 6 too. They get a bye on October 12th. Then they head to Wallace Wade Stadium.
Friday nighter. I think that makes it a little more dangerous.
Manny Diaz, his dad, former Hurricane coach. His dad was the mayor of Miami. He hates Tallahassee. All right.
Didn't he coach for Florida State at one
I think he
point?
did.
Yeah.
I think he did. I'm just building this up. Right? It makes him want to puke every time he goes to that fucking filthy city. Right? No, I'm joking. But yeah, they beat Duke. Win.
Yeah.
Yeah, Duke is very questionable on both lines of scrimmage this year, and that's going to be Florida State's strength. So I think Florida State beats Duke here.
And then we got the rivalry game. Remember, we have the Miami Hurricanes preview coming up right next, folks. They head to Hard Rock Stadium. This is like the one game Miami will actually sell out, but it'll be like 35% Florida State fans.
I was going to say there's going to be some, Nole Nation is going to be there too.
But
get this man a contract.
Yeah, I can do. Florida State, you could pay me to come to your games, and I will do that. All right. I think they're better coached than Miami, man. What? I'm taking Florida State. Florida State.
I don't trust Miami yet. I trust Florida State to be good. Miami, I mean, we're going to do their preview next, and they got all the talent in the world on paper. They look great, but that doesn't always translate. I'm going Florida State here too.
Well, this is where I say by this point in the season, but if I'm predicting this game, actually, no, I think Miami gets them. I think last year was close. Was it 2 years ago that Florida State had blown them out? But only a couple years before that, Miami blew them out. And so, this is still a pretty evenly matched rivalry in terms of talent. I think Miami took steps to improve their roster in the offseason, obviously with Cam Ward and Damian Harris, or is it Damian?
Martinez.
Martinez. Yeah. So I don't know. I think Miami has a chance here. The fact that it's on the second end of the back-to-back, but ultimately it is. Yeah, I think they're going to have their first loss by this point. So 7-1 for me.
And then the ultimate spot, the North Carolina Tar Heels. We did the North Carolina preview, Patty C, right?
Yeah.
Their schedules, they have nobody on their schedule, right? This is their hardest game. Guess what I love about this? Mac Brown could be in his final season. He's 72 years old to be 73 at the end of the month, right? August 27th is his birthday. He is a Florida State graduate, played running back for the Noles, started his coaching career with the Noles, and he has never once beat them. Never once beat them. He's had a lot of close losses to him. Watch out. North Carolina upsets. Perfect letdown spot after the Miami game. Tar Heels go into Tallahassee and get the dub.
Not only is it a letdown spot, it's a sandwich spot because you have at Notre Dame next. But I disagree. UNC doesn't have their team's not tough enough to go on the road and win this game in the trenches. Give me Florida State.
Are you tough enough, Patty C? What are you doing?
It reminds me of old Chuck Amato, who I think was with Florida State forever, and then at a very late age, back in 2002, got a win against Florida State. So that would be a similar, storyline, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think Florida State gets them at home. 8-1.
8-1. I got him 6-2. NC Nick's got him 7-1.
7-1.
Wait.
6-2. No, 8-1, Colby. I think you're at 7-2.
7-2.
Okay.
With 3 games left.
Then they head to the Golden Dome on November 9th. I got him losing this one 2 in a row. Give me the under. That puts me on the under.
Yeah, I think this is kind of the obvious one. It's going to be cold. It's a night game, so the place is going to be crazy. And Notre Dame might be one of the only teams, maybe them, Miami and Clemson, that can actually bang with them, in the trenches. So I'm going to go Fighting Irish here too. So I'm down to 8-2.
Yeah. Notre Dame also coming off a bye. Florida State coming off at Miami and North Carolina, 2 probably competitive games in a row. I think Notre Dame is better prepared for this home game, and they get it done. So I got them at 9-2.
Whew, we got an Irish sweep here.
There we go. And they got a bye week, their third bye week. That's the benefit of playing this week 0 bullshit. But then they another bye week. They needed a bye week for Charleston Southern. The Buccaneers,
what a waste of a bye week.
Yeah, Florida State doing the classic SEC move, just putting Charleston Southern on the schedule November 23rd. I guess that makes sense since they play Florida, and Florida probably has like McNeese on the schedule on the 23rd, but not this year. I think Florida's got a tough end
bye
of the
week,
season.
a warm up week, and then the rivalry game. But since they play week 0 and this is a long season, third bye of the season for Florida State, you got to put it somewhere.
I got them winning out.
Florida has Ole Miss before this game, but yeah, I have them winning out also 10-2 over cashes.
9-3, the under cashes.
10-2 over cashes.
Now, see, this is the interesting. Well, maybe not with you guys. I think you guys. So, if you go listen to me and the bet detective CJ Sullivan's Louisville preview, we had Louisville only losing one game within the conference. That is, that would set up Louisville and Florida State again in NC Nick's case and Patty C's case if that holds true. For me, I have them at 2 losses. And I think I just did the Carolina preview. I only had them with 2 losses. So that tiebreaker, that game would be everything. Assuming we don't know the tiebreaker actually, so I shouldn't say that. Last year we saw San Jose State beat the shit out of UNLV, and then they announced this tiebreaker where San Jose State doesn't play for the Mountain West Championship. Yeah. So we'll see what the tiebreaker is, but I do expect. I think there's room for just a wacky ACC championship with some of the way the schedules align for NC State, for Louisville, for Syracuse, for Virginia Tech,
North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, I just think there's a lot. I think Florida State's schedule is a little bit harder than some of those other teams we mentioned. So
the one thing you didn't mention though is that they only have 3 road games in conference because of the Georgia Tech game. Yeah, but I don't feel great about this one because I have them winning all 3 of those ones at SMU, at Duke, at Miami. They could easily trip up on one of those and go 9-3. And if they do have the second loss in the conference, then things are wide open. But the way Patty and I had it, just 1 loss in the ACC, the other loss at Notre Dame, which doesn't factor into the equation when it comes to the ACC. I think the Noles are back in the ACC title game.
It's hard not to think that he's got them going in the right direction after last year.
They went 13-0. New faces though, man. He had Jordan Travis there forever. Like I need to see DJ U take a big step forward, but also like it's not like they blew out every opponent last year. Like that. First off, how many what did they get last season that let me just quickly pull up
well, real quick, it had been 9 years since they had won the ACC before that, 2014 to 2023. So to expect them to all of a sudden pull 2 in a row would be inconsistent with the recent history. But again, they haven't been up to this level. I mean, if we're talking about when the program gets going, it was 3 in a row that they had won 2012, 2013, 2014. And then they fell off, and then it took 9 years. And then they got back.
Yeah, I mean, to Colby's point, I think he didn't mention it on this podcast, but he's mentioned it to me before, is that he doesn't think it's going to be Florida State Clemson in the ACC championship game. Because I kind of agree. I mean, it's very easy to go chalk and just pencil in those 2, but I mean, things can get wacky with this imbalanced scheduling and tiebreakers. So it's going to be interesting. But I have Clemson beating Florida State this year. So you would think maybe the winner of that game is definitely in the ACC championship, but I still have Florida State making it.
Now, last year they played 3 of their 4 ACC teams on the road were losing teams, and the team with the winning record or 500 or below, Boston College was 500, but come on, and they only won that by 2. Clemson was the only team with the winning record, and they won that game. But if we're all look, I'm no Clemson fan. Clemson, I thought, was the better team that day. Yeah. I just thought Florida State stole that win. They deserved that credit
was
for
in
stealing
South
that
Carolina.
win. Yes.
That was at Clemson.
But my point is Pitt team was horrible last year. Wake Forest team was horrible last year. Those were their conference games a season ago. When I looked, say what you want about SMU, and maybe they will be underwhelming in the ACC this year. I think that's not. It's not on the Clemson level, but it's certainly better than the other 3. And then the Miami game, I think, being at Hard Rock, even though I gave that win to Florida State. And then Duke. So I mean, I guess the
other thing
who
is
knows what Duke's
their transfers. Johnny Wilson balled out, and it was evident.
Keon Coleman
balled out. It was evident that those guys were physically dominant and better playmakers than a lot of the competition they were playing against. There's no guarantee that those guys are going to develop this or just show up this year. So, you're going to have to get your big plays and production from somewhere. We don't know where that's coming from Florida State yet. So there is a bigger question mark. I mean, there was that question mark last year, but it showed out.
Yeah, I think they're a younger team this year. They may be deeper to Jimmy FSU's point in the chat. They might be deeper this year, but they're also younger. So how quickly can, especially like at the receiver group, like you mentioned, where they got a bunch of, I think 3 of their top 4 guys are going to be sophomores, who did not do much as freshmen either.
I think they'll probably be better on the line of scrimmage this year than a year ago, but. Fatal Jedi, he's talking about his 10-win season at Oregon State last year. Like, look, I was rooting for Oregon State. I'm just saying I thought he would have been better at Oregon State last year. Like from a fantasy standpoint.
What do you have? 21 touchdowns, 7 picks.
He wasn't. I thought Jonathan Smith would get a better showing from him.
Yeah,
that's all I'm saying in that. And he's also bringing up the bye week thing. The bye week thing we're saying is yes, the week 0 they get 3 bye weeks, but it's also 4 because of Charleston Southern. That's what we're saying.
It's just not a strategic use of that last bye.
Yeah. I'm on the under. I don't feel good about it though. I mean, they could easily go 11-1 here. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm on the over, and I think they win the ACC championship, but massive question marks. And that's not so much that I think they're that much better. I think the ACC has massive question marks across the board, but I have them beating Miami in a rematch. But that the other team that they play could be any one of 5 or 6 teams. I have no idea who they're going to play against. I think it's going to be Florida State against someone else, and I think Florida State gets it done.
Could be. And see, Nikki, Florida State against Miami in the ACC championship. I guess we'll find out next.
A rematch.
Right?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and say Florida State loses the title game, and then the question would be, would a 10-3 Florida State team get in the playoffs?
Oh, after last season, they fucking better put them in. Good
right,
God.
right.
Unbelievable. They should all be ashamed of themselves. Folks, I'm on the 100. I like I said, I just think there's too many moving pieces this year. And I also think this year's schedule is harder than last year's schedule. So I think they trip up. They trip up somewhere there. It could be Cal, could be SMU, could be Georgia Tech in Ireland. Going to be fun to watch all of this. I'm on the under, but you will not hear me mention this on the Locks Pod. I am not locking up the under 9.5 on Florida State. Folks, give us a follow on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. That is the home for the college football experience. Patty C is on Twitter at Patty C831. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. NC Nick's on Twitter at NC__NICK. And check out the Stadium Heads podcast. Obviously, Doak Campbell Stadium. We can do a deep dive on how great that stadium is. Great stuff there in Tallahassee. Also, check out the FCS College Football Experience for more on the Charleston Southern Buccaneers. And check out the College Basketball Experience. Leonard Hamilton. Could it be is this the year? Is this the year they figured things out again and get back to the Elite Eight? Check out the College Basketball Experience, the College Baseball Experience too. Great season for Florida State this year in college baseball. Check that out. All of those feeds go together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. But please, if you can, hop over to iTunes, give us a 5-star review. Excited for this all. Like I said, the Miami Hurricanes coming up next. Until next time, folks, this is the College Football Experience, Florida State Seminole style. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And the whole team's looking and the whole world's looking with the cameras. Run and shoot. We can really run and shoot. And you know what you're getting 'cause the book's rewritten with the cameras. Everybody's trying to stop this team, but we keep on knocking them dead. They make opposing coaches wanna cuss and scream and pull their hair right out of their head. Run and shoot.